Is meeting girls in real life the answer? Let's find out.
What I've noticed recently is many guys are waking up to the importance of looks. It's undeniable when you scroll through YouTube or TikTok comments that so many men are getting behind the idea that being
Yeah, what's the
attractive is
Franson?
nice.
Is Steve Franson has he made any video? What's up, Jimbo Zaylog? Dude, come on, bro. Come on. I need the election take, bro.
Is
Let's
a
go
huge
learn.
advantage, if not the primary advantage in terms of dating and attracting girls. I'm referring to the comments such as step 1, be attractive, step 2, don't be unattractive, or 6 foot plus, blonde, blue eyes, nice jaw, don't try this, most guys. These comments are becoming more and more common nowadays, especially with the explosion of dating apps, TikTok, and COVID forcing everything online. However, at the same time, I've seen a number of guys who are trying to be creative and think of ways to bypass the importance of looks. They say things like, I'll just delete the dating apps and try to meet girls in real life. I'll just join
He
yoga
blocked on
clubs.
Twitter, so I can't see Franson Kino. No, you can see everybody. I maybe it's just my account, but now everybody who's blocked me, I can still see their accounts. It just says this person blocked you, so you can't interact.
Or salsa class, where there are loads of girls and I'll have a chance to display my personality. And though I find it endearing, these men are trying to overcome a challenge and think of a solution to a problem.
Bro looks like if Prince Harry wasn't like a loser. This is like Prince Harry premium.
Unfortunately, I see it as a fruitless endeavour and it's pretty much a headless chicken hunt. The main point I want to drill home in this video is you as a man are way better off internalising the importance of looks, accepting that it is by far the most important factor in the modern age, and while simultaneously improving your looks, you should be trying to find a girl that likes you for your appearance so you can have a fulfilling relationship with her. There's no point trying to bypass it. If you try to bypass how fundamentally important looks are in relationships, it will lead to heartache and misery. So you're better off only trying to date girls who find you physically attractive. So, that's the premise, and I'll spend the rest of the video giving personal anecdotes and stories to explain this further. Let me get one thing clear first. If you're one of these guys who thinks meeting girls in real life will allow you to bypass looks, I have something to break to you. Meeting girls in real life at places like coffee shops or the grocery store is just as much about looks as it is online. I'm speaking from experience here as a man who's been on multiple dates with girls I've met this way, and my last 2 girlfriends being from these daytime conversations. The first one even told me that she'd been hit on by plenty of guys this way before me, but they were all too old, and I was the first guy her age to talk to her, which is why she accepted me. I can't think of any reasons for why she would lie, so I think we can conclude if you're a guy who is significantly older or less
This
attractive
does look
than
like
her,
Tyler Russell too.
you will be auto-rejected even if she lets you down in a nice way.
True
And it
facts.
will be very obvious from her body language she doesn't like you. You may even be perceived as creepy and she'll make sub-communications, or she'll just flat out say she's not interested. If you don't believe me, you're more than welcome to try. But don't be surprised when you find out what I and my previous girlfriend said is true. If you're still not clear on this point, I think a good rule of thumb is if you are a stranger to her and she is the type of girl who will reject you on a dating app, talking to her in the day will lead to the same outcome no matter how polite and respectful your compliment may be. You need to have a similar looks and age to her. If you don't, you'll be rejected because of your looks and at worst have negative labels put on you. Another important factor.
Chris is running away from Paul. Sad to see. True.
I've learned physical attraction.
True. He'll
cannot be
post
bypassed.
a story. He'll post a story about the fire. He'll do that, and then he'll quickly return to Beardson. He'll quickly return to Beardson.
Even if you think you'll be able to get in a relationship with her. I'm talking about the guys who you know in your own life that you see are unattractive, but have still been able to meet a beautiful girlfriend through warm environments such as a social club or work. From here, you might start thinking, how did he do
Are
that?
wholesome.
Maybe I need to do the same. I'll just try to meet a girl.
Hey, Groper Gosling, what's going on in here, dude? Why are you guys yelling at each other? I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to teach you guys something. A little something, something.
And she'll like me for my personality. You might think this is a good idea and could be a great workaround to bypass the importance of looks, but ultimately, I think it is a hard pass and there are no shortcuts. If you try finding a relationship with a girl who doesn't find you initially physically attractive, then the relationship is almost guaranteed to fail or at best have a very bumpy ride ahead. Firstly, many of these relationships aren't nearly as special or romantic as you think. And to put it out there, a lot of them aren't even physical relationships. Trust me, I've seen it so many times I cannot not say this point. I've had 7 girls, 2 of which became my girlfriends and the other 5 were just first dates, where she claims she's had a boyfriend in the past, but then would later tell me she is still a virgin. One of the girls who told me she was in a relationship with a guy for 3 years and another girl was there for 2 years. Every one of these so-called relationships, and I'm talking about all the girls here, met in a warm environment such as school. In my opinion, they resemble more friendships than intimate relationships. At best, it is a jester relationship. And by the way, these are not just my words, but the girls I've dated told me this. And they told me this before I even asked them. The one that was a virgin in a relationship for 3 years said these words: "I always saw him more like a brother to me." Another one said, "I never really saw him like that, which is why we never did anything." Then when I asked why she was with him, she said, "All my friends were in relationships and we were the only 2 left that weren't, so it just made sense for us to get together." I think this highlights an important point. If you meet a girlfriend who alludes to you only being together because it's convenient, it just makes sense, or right place, right time. Does that connote it's a strong relationship or a weak relationship? I'd say weak. Anyway, I heard similar phrases from the other girls, and honestly, the first time I heard it, I was so puzzled and couldn't see how 2 people can be together for over a year and not have it happen just one time. But then the 5th, 6th, 7th time I heard it and it became more and more normal. Not surprising at all. Additionally, these are just the girls that had told me these stories. Imagine a number of other girls who never told me experiences like this, even though they had them. Now, before continuing, I want to make a harsh but very clear point. If you are or have been one of these guys
Red
in
pill
these
me on Paul Town.
relationships, then what on earth were you doing? I mean, seriously, I seriously hope that you are watching this video to know how big of a cost you endured for being with these girls. Fair enough, this is more anticipated if you are very young, but one of the dudes was 18 at the start and 20 by the end. More than old enough, so any relationship should have the goal of meeting someone serious and doing physical stuff. I'm not saying it needs to happen on the first date, not necessarily the first month, but if you get to a few months and there hasn't even been a consideration of what the physical elements of the relationship will entail, then I'd recommend to have a conversation with your partner about this and a long, hard think about whether this is the right relationship for you. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion based on experience, if it gets to this long without addressing this, then I think there are concerns for the levels of physical attraction your partner has for you. And if you sense she's even a little apprehensive or questioning of her physical desire for you, then I think the strength of the relationship is very compromised. Put simply, I think it is the same as
What's the
trying to
Paul Town red pill? Paul Town, do you know about ITV, aka Rehab Room? No, I don't actually. I don't.
ride a bike with flat tires. Yeah, you can still technically try to keep it moving along, but it's not a great experience and you'd probably be better off
Yes, your relationship.
addressing the issue, or if the tires are unfixable, then finding new tires or a new bike altogether. Yes, it might mean you need to abandon your current standing. Yes, it might take a long time to find someone new, but when you do it, it will be all the much more worth it. This is why I believe you should only try to get in a relationship when a girl is giving you S-tier choosing signals and has made
S-tier. We're ranking choosing signals now.
clear
Dude, it's just so
indications
funny.
she
It's
finds
so
you
over for
physically
autistic people. It's
attractive.
so funny.
Every relationship I've had has been this way and has been great. Whereas the ones I started dating initially and it was clear early their physical attraction was a C or B tier at best, I stopped dating them even though I could have likely kept it going and became official. What I've learned is if you are in a relationship where a girl isn't in it for your
Legion
looks,
Grow Hyper just
then you're
followed
not
on
worth
Cozy.
being in that relationship. I'll repeat. If you are in a relationship where a girl isn't in it for your looks, then you are not worth being in that relationship. You can't try to bypass physical attraction by compensating with personality. And furthermore, even just think for a second just how pathetic this is on a deep level. If a guy settles for a relationship thinking, I know this girl doesn't really find me good looking or handsome, but she is still with me because she likes my personality. That's not strong love, that's a facade. In my experience, the best type of relationships are where the partners each have a feeling of 10 out of 10 in every department about the other person. 10 out of 10 personality, 10 out of 10 affection, 10 out of 10 physical attraction, 10 out of 10 communication, 10 out of 10 trust. Having a relationship where everything is a 10 except physical attraction, which is a 2, isn't a strong relationship, it's a weak one. And if I was in that position, I'd find it highly disheartening and demoralizing. The best relationships I've had are where the girl communicates she has strong physical desire for me, going beyond just verbal, but I can see it in her body language in intimate moments, her genuine and primal attraction she has for me. I would never want to be in a relationship where this isn't present. I'll tell you this, when you've had experiences with girls where some give you primal desire and are extremely attracted to you, whilst others feel like they are doing you favors to stay with you, then you'll know which ones are genuine and worth keeping. So, why do so many guys turn a blind eye for this and settle for relationships where the girl doesn't feel this intense way? My answer? Because most guys try to chase girls in their social circle, but 99% of these girls have next to no physical attraction for them. In my experience,
Bro, I'm talking to Frank right now. I'm talking to Frank. Chris Brunette. Chris Brunette basically DM'd Frank Castle apologizing for not knowing who he is. Oh, that's so funny, dude.
From warm approach. That's one girl that has given me S tier from a warm environment, and I felt the desire was strong enough.
DMing Frank Castle. That's so funny.
From the beginning that I wanted to be in a relationship with her. And over the years, I've probably interacted with at least 200 girls in warm environments. So do the math, that's one girl out of 200 that gave me S tier.
Red pill me on Frank Castle.
I already knew. All the rest gave worse choosing signals than this. I'd estimate 90% of them gave F tier, which pretty much means their desire was non-existent.
Oh, he's so funny, dude.
No signals whatsoever, and in many scenarios, I'd assume they didn't even want to talk to me, rather just had to because they were obliged based on whatever warm environment we were in. Then there were maybe another 9.5% that gave choosing signals in between.
Red pill me on arson.
Probably could have settled for a relationship with one of these girls who was giving me B or C tier, but why would I want to? Even if she agreed, I'd always be feeling this is a sympathy relationship. And I'd worry in future,
Red pill me on
if we were
Heidegger.
no longer in the same circle, I'd be
Red
just
pill
like
me
one of those
on
guys
black
who was
people
with
and
her for a short
crime.
while, and when she's with the next guy who she gives S tier to, she'll be saying how I was always like a brother to her.
Red pill me
I don't
on
want to be regarded as
pavement
like
apes.
a brother. I want to be seen as the main and sole guy that she finds deeply attractive and likes everything about me. Anyway, now for something a little bit more light-hearted. This next story isn't about a relationship.
Red pill me
I've had,
on
but nonetheless,
Poontang.
it's still a funny story and highlights the consequences of trying to attract girls who don't give S tier.
It's over. Look, you can't do this. This has to be bait because it's like, in reality, all you have to do is just keep trying until it works. Like, even if you're not good looking, if you're average looking, just do stuff and it'll work out. Like, it's literally just putting the cart before the horse. It would be like if I was like researching like how to take care of the lawn of like a 10,000 acre estate. The best way to hire Mexicans for taking care of the lawn on a 10,000 acre estate. And it's like, well, when you get there, you can deal with it. You don't worry about it. You just do it. Like life, you just do things. You don't think about it that much. It's very odd.
I'll never forget one time me and my friend were on holiday and we were chatting to these two girls who seemed kinda interested in us initially. They agreed to come to our hotel room later for pre-drinks before heading out. They showed up at the agreed time and we were with them for 2 hours. The vibe was okay and they were probably giving us B tier, escalating to A tier as they had more drinks and became more comfortable. Then shortly after, I had to go to the bathroom and my friend and the 2 girls headed downstairs to get more drinks. I then received this message from my friend, F tier, all caps. I ask him on the chat what's happened, but he doesn't respond. He then comes to the room a few minutes later and tells me in private that whilst they were in the elevator, there was some 5'11" Chad and the girls were all over him. They pumped up the flirting to 95 and were immediately telling him how attractive he was and they can't wait to see him out in the club later. In other words, they were giving him Giga S tier. As soon as me and my...
Nice. Florida Groiper. Why would you send that to me? Why would you send that to me, dude?
discussed this, we knew we were wasting our time. And even in the best case scenario, if the 2 girls got with us later, we'd feel it was out of sympathy because the energy with the Chad guy was way, way, way higher.
This guy needs to hit himself in the face with a hammer. Well, he looks fine. Dude, it's why worry about it? What are you looking for? That's like, I don't get it. It's like, yeah, it's good to have a relationship and that sort of stuff, but you gotta live your life, dude. And it's gonna work out. You just be normal. Just like be like funny, make people laugh, be charming, you know, be polite. And maybe it won't work out a few times, right? That's because you're learning how to interact with girls. And eventually it works out and you're fine. It's like you don't need all women to love you. You don't need all women to love you. All you need is like one woman, dude. It's not a big deal.
If given the chance, both of them would have rather had spent their time drinking and partying with the Chad, and maybe he had a Chad friend as well if there were 2 of them. Compare this to how they probably viewed us, and it was clear we were at best the second and less desirable options. After this happened, me and my friend decided to leave and find some other girls. To my utmost surprise, the girls got mad at us for leaving, calling us jealous and how they were just being friendly to the Chad guy and it didn't mean anything. But we stuck to our guns because we knew these girls weren't genuinely interested in us. They didn't have primal attraction, otherwise they would have given us S tier. The only way to know if a girl has primal attraction for you is if she gives you S tier. So we left and wanted to find other opportunities of girls that would give us S tier outside. What this story made me learn, besides chasing girls who don't give S tier is a waste of time, is sometimes you might think a girl is giving you B tier or even A tier, but until you see how she is when she's with a guy she genuinely finds attractive, that's when you'll see her true S tier come out, and then you'll realise the B tier or whatever she was giving you all along was pathetic and more like D tier at best. I want to say one more point which kind of summarises everything I've been saying.
He's making a tier list? Yeah, he's talking about like girls and tier lists.
For the relationships where a girl doesn't have intense physical desire for the dude, the vast majority of them have an expiry date written all over them. If the desire wasn't there initially...
Yo, what's up? Thanks for the follow, dude. I appreciate it.
It's not possible to make it present in future. In fact, I've seen it often diminishes because after the first several months of the relationship being in the honeymoon phase where optimism and rose-tintedness is heightened, one or both of the partners starts to realize whatever mediocre attraction there was at the beginning was not worth getting into the relationship in the first place.
Dude, he's rating. This is how things work, okay?
The person who signals this alarm bell is usually the woman, and the doubt she had in her mind at the start rise to the surface.
He is gonna pirate your book? No, it's okay if he pirates, but I don't care. I don't care, bro. Why would I care if he pirates my book? Good for him. He might learn something. That nigga needs to learn, bro. That nigga needs to learn, dude.
Falling apart. Even if she was able to suppress her emotions in the honeymoon phase, they'd have always been at the back of her mind, and it's only a matter of time until they reach the forefront. I have one friend who was in a relationship like this for a while, which eventually broke down for the reason just described. And it was only until he at last found a girl who gave him true S tier, he realized how that previous relationship was more or less a joke. He realized just how important intense, primal, physical desire really was. Anyway, that's enough BPs for today. But if you've enjoyed and want to hear more of my experiences, then you might be interested in my book, The BP Bible, The 10 Commandments of how dating is rigged against men and what you can do about it. It can be purchased right now, paperback, in the description through Amazon. Or alternatively, if you'd rather save money and receive the ebook version and the audio version and all of my delisted videos and
Bro. Every girl I've dated has given S tier choosing signals.